What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Kids World Home Edition. Guys, I'm so excited. We're going to be back together again here at September 13th. September 13th, we are going to be back together, and I can't wait. I'm so excited, guys. I've been waiting for this moment forever, and I can't wait to be with you guys. I've missed every single one of you. I love every single one of you, and I can't wait to be back together and have a blast. Okay, like we're gonna have to party it up when we get back together or something, because seriously, it's gonna be great. So today's lesson is going to be something special. Remember that we talked about the storm. We talked about Jesus calming the storm, and now how that proved that he was Jesus, because they noticed that no other man in the world can calm the storm. Only someone of God can. And not only someone of God, but God. Okay? So they found out that day that this man was different. He had to be the Son of God. Well, there's going to be today, Jesus is going to go even a step further, and we're about to see what happens. Peter, James, and John. Those three we hear about all the time. Paul came later, okay? Jesus' disciples, the three that we hear about mostly all the time, is Peter, James, and John. They were always with Jesus. Peter wasn't afraid to say what was on his mind. He just wasn't. You had James, which was the brother of Jesus Christ himself. And then you had John, which he says was the beloved. He knew that Jesus loved him like he loves you and me. And he held that to high esteem, because how in the world can you not think that you're someone special when the creator of the universe says that he loves you? So John knew his worth, and so should we. So these three went up to a mountain with Jesus. Okay, Jesus takes them up into a mountain, and they're going to pray. Now, while Jesus is praying, we see that all three of them, almost said both, but there's three, Peter, James, and John, we find out that all three of them fall asleep in the midst of Jesus praying. Now, I know what you're going to say or ask. You're going to be like, how in the world did they fall asleep when Jesus is right there? Or I wouldn't have fallen asleep because Jesus is right there. Think about it. Jesus lives in our hearts. He is with us already. But even then, when we pray, we still get tired. We still grow bored. We still miss our prayer times because other things are more important. Like we think that video games are more important, or we're scared that we're going to miss out. So even today, with Jesus living inside of us, sometimes we say that still isn't important. So these three, falling asleep during prayer, is no different than us skipping out or falling asleep during our prayer. But so we look at that and they fall asleep. What happens now? It tells us that Jesus, while he's praying, begins to shine. His face becomes like the sun, bright, and his robe and his clothes begin to shine bright white. Okay, can you imagine that? Can you imagine going up into a mountain, you fall asleep, and then all of a sudden it's like poof, bright? That's like you falling asleep, and in the morning, mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa come in, and they just like flip on the lights, and you're like, oh, or like they swing open the window, and the sun is like poof, right into your face. That's exactly how it was. So these three disciples are sleeping, and all of a sudden it's like, pow, just light and brightness, and it's like the sun is just right over them, and they woke up. I would wake up. I'd be like, what in the world is going on? What's going on, Jesus? What's going on? That's what I would do. So that's what happens. They wake up, and they're like, what is going on? And what do they find? They find something amazing. Jesus is talking to two people. Okay, now that's kind of weird because there's only three up on the mountain. 4 if you include Jesus. So Peter, James, John, Jesus. Okay, I would be like, Peter, James, John, Jesus. Who's the extra 2? There's 2 more people up in the mountain, and Jesus is shining bright like the sun. I'd be like, what is going on? Well, let's see who they were. Elijah and Moses. Mind equals blown. Because these 2 people were way before the disciples. I'm talking hundreds of years before the disciples. How in the world were they there with him? Well, they came from paradise. You see, they have already died, and they've gone to live in, well, it wasn't really called heaven. It was called Abraham's bosom. It was like a paradise. And they were there. So Jesus praying, they were called down to be with Jesus. Okay? And Jesus is talking to them. They're talking with Jesus. Things are going down. You know, Jesus becomes the sun. It's his glory shining. And it wakes these 3 guys up. They wake up and they're like, what in the world? And then you know what Peter says? He goes, oh my goodness, this is crazy. You know what we need to do? We need to build 3 tents. We need to build 3 altars. 1 to Moses, 1 to Elijah, 1 to Jesus. Hold up. Something is wrong there. What's wrong with that picture? Who is the Most High? Who is the only one that should be getting our praise? Jesus. Peter, in his humanistic ways, sees 3 godly forms. Mind you that Elijah and Moses are both glowing as well. So he sees these 3 people and he immediately wants to make an altar to all 3. Someone else shows up in the picture. A cloud covers the mountain. Okay, where did this come from? Okay, James is probably like, yo, this is getting whack. Okay, I'd be flipping out. I'd probably be on the floor, you know, like, hey, dude, shut up. Like, we got to listen to this man. The cloud covers the mountain, and God himself talks. God himself talks and tells the disciples, stop. What was that? He goes, stop. This is my son, who I am well pleased. Listen to him. Okay? In today's terms, God came down. Peter is saying, we got to build something for these folks. And God says, yo, shut up. Let my boy speak. That's pretty much what he's trying to say in today's terms. Let my boy speak. So they listen to him. Actually, they do more than that. They fall on their faces because God has spoken. And they fall in fear. Can you imagine the voice of God just coming just out of a cloud that's surrounding you? It's probably ear-piercing. It's loud. The mountain's shaking. There's probably lightning and thunder, and God's still shining bright. There's so much stuff going on. You think you're about to die, and you fall on your face, and when they look up, what happens? Only Jesus is there. The other 2 are gone. The cloud is gone. Who were those 2 people? They ask. Jesus explains who they were. Well, the disciples remember something and say, well, who's Elijah then? Because like it says that the Messiah isn't going to come until Elijah shows up. And Jesus goes, Elijah's already shown up. That was him. Thus, another reveal to say that he is Jesus, the Son of God. As they walk down the mountain, Jesus says one more thing to the disciples. Peter, James, and John. He says, do not tell anybody about what happened here until the Son of Man is gone. Once again, they were really confused about that wording. They didn't know what that wording meant. Jesus meant that until he had died and rose again. They wouldn't know that until after Jesus' death. So they kept that secret until after Jesus' death. Guys, Jesus is alive. He is well, and he is here to work. He came and helped the disciples, but he's here to help you too. And now that we've seen what he's done in our lives, now that we can read the Bible and see what God has done and that he's died on the cross and he's rose again, he's saying, reveal the secret. Tell people who I am. That's my job, your job. Guys, I can't wait to see you again on the 13th. I am so stoked. I love you guys, and I will be talking to you later. Peace.